Tracking. Oh, here we go. And we're live. And with me, I have Charming Man. Welcome, Charming Man.
Hello.
It's good that you're here.
It's good to be here, although I've got a bit of allergies because I just got up. So I'll be sniffling a lot, people, just in case you want to know.
Yeah. Feel free to ship post and please have questions ready for Charming Man because I do take questions from chats.
That's going to be good, isn't it? Totally not cancerous.
Okay, let's see. How would you describe your personality?
Autistic. Autistic, very autistic.
Do you really have autism?
Well, Asperger's isn't really a thing anymore, is it? It's high functioning. Yeah.
Oh,
I suppose you didn't know. Everyone knows.
I didn't know that you had autism. I mean, you seem perfectly normal to me.
That's the thing that I usually get nowadays. If you'd met me after I'd just left school, you probably would not have that reaction. I don't know. Maybe I've just learnt to control it more, or I've gotten older. I don't know, but yeah, I do. Yeah.
I would have never known. You seem so normal, but it could also be that the world has gotten a lot crazier, It also could be it's because you are definitely more sane than any social justice warrior.
Well, none of them are. Well, only a few. Well, only Trigglypuff that I know of is autistic, and she's clearly, not quite high functioning. She might be a little bit functioning, but no, I've never seen anyone like me or Griffix or Spino do what she did. That's just a bit crazy.
Yeah, because again, I mean, if you didn't say anything, I would have never guessed that you were autistic. I mean, I don't even really know much about autism, I think you're...
Yeah. Oh, go, Kyle.
I think that people with autism are supposed to be really good at certain subjects like math.
That's more of a stereotype. It's not really maths. A lot of them are good at it, but really it's what your obsession is, really. My thing is history and English. The complete opposite of anything to do with that. So,
Oh, so autism is about it's about being obsessed with something?
No. Obsessions is a trait, but which makes people good at certain things. It's not about that. It's a trait. It's one of the things that makes you autistic in a way. At least I know the high functioning people are like that. I don't know about the low functioning people. Also, there's a heavy reliance on routine as well.
It sounds like obsessive compulsive disorder.
No, it's not like that. Obsessive compulsives have to put things in order and do this other thing that they have to do. It's not, autism's not like that. That's not what I mean by obsession. It's like you develop an interest in something and you become very deeply involved in it, basically. Sometimes it might not last very long. Other times it's lifelong, and I've got a few lifelong ones and a few ones that no longer interest me. So that's what I mean. It's nothing to do with OCD, although you can have OCD, obviously.
Oh, thank you for explaining that. Oh my goodness. Charming Man dropped. Oh, well. So does anybody have anything to say on chat? Until he gets back. Looks like only one person's talking on chat. Some person in Patriarchy Bear mentioned something about sandwiches. Oh, I know. How's this? While until Charming Man gets back, why don't I just Oh, there you go. Oh,
Sorry, internet froze, but it's back on now.
yeah. It's good that you're back because I was about to just show people all the tweets I have because I triggered so many people. I triggered
I want to know who you know.
huh?
I want to know who you know to trigger so many people. I've said some silly things on Twitter and nobody gets pissed off.
I don't know anybody, but at the exact same time, I just used the hashtag um heterosexual pride day, and like I would have like 5 people bombarding me with tweets, calling me fat, telling
Oh no.
telling me to go kill myself. They're like, go kill yourself.
Kill yourself.
They sent me like a YouTube video on how to cut myself or how to tie a noose so I could go kill myself. I
You
tr-
know, linking you a video to that is against the TOS, isn't it?
Yes, it actually is against YouTube's terms of service. And there's this guy who kept linking me to videos on how to cut myself, how to tie a noose and whatnot. I
This
mean,
just shows a prejudice to some extent, doesn't it? To
yeah,
straight people.
like straight people are oppressed. Those people have heterophobia. See, more proof for
I
heterosexuality.
know. If you want to know people who are genuinely ignorant and are genuinely phobic in some capacity, drop something like that, like hashtag heterosexual pride day or white pride day. You'll find loads of racists and people who don't like straight people. It just shows that they're hypocrites because they accept some people but not others. But
Yeah,
they'll just say, "Nah, but you're normal. It's okay." No, we are the norm, but that doesn't make us normal.
yeah, that's what I mostly get. It's like you're normal, so it's okay. When actuality, I'm actually a bit bisexual. I mean, I've have been with a few girls in the past. However, I do lean towards straight. I do lean towards straights, but I'm much more bisexual though.
I'm straight, but I can recognise that some guys are just handsome, and you just have to say, "Yeah, that guy's handsome." I can recognise that, but I'm not sexually attracted to him in any way.
Yeah, yeah. I'm bisexual, but I lean more straights. But I have been with a few girls in the past,
Mm.
here and there. Few like relationships with women, but still, it's all complicated. It's hard to explain because people think that it's perfectly 50-50, like you 50% like men, 50% like women, but it's no, you can't lean one way though.
Sometimes it grows in time. Like some bisexual women or men will date a particular gender and go, "Nah, no more," and stick to another one instead.
Yeah, that's me. It's like at first, when I was a child, I was keenly attracted to women. Like I was like intensely attracted to women as a child. But then, it's kind of like I got tired of the drama. Like there's so much
Yeah.
drama with women. So it's like, no more.
Oh, that is the story I always hear.
Like too much drama with women, just way too much drama with women. I would rather be with a man than a woman because women come with so much drama, so much baggage. It's kind
I
of like
know, Becky.
you do realize that lesbian relationships are actually more abusive than gay
Mm.
relationships. Like if
They're
you
the
look.
most abusive of them all.
Yeah, lesbian relationships is the most abusive one of them all, and the gay relationship is actually the kinderest and more gentlest of them all.
Yeah, it's like what Jim Jeffrey said. Why do you think they call gay people? Because they're happy. He said he wished he was gay, but but he's straight, so he's unlucky. Because you know that he's right. That I mean, it's great because they don't have the drama. They tend to be richer on average, and just wouldn't it be awesome to be fabulous every day? Like I'd love to be Justica, me.
Yeah, I mean, I had a Justicar in one of my hangouts, and he was a lot of fun to have around. He had me laughing the whole entire time. It was hard for me to think straight.
Yeah, it's like Jim Jeffries. You know, he's a comedian, and he actually said that. He even said, and what did he say? He said like, yeah, if someone, if you would say to a gay man, but you're gay, he goes, yeah, guilty. You have to watch it to fully appreciate it, and then he goes like, lesbians are always miserable.
Yeah, because that's the most abusive relationship of them all. Like it's like number one in it is like lesbian relationships. It's kind of like, women are hard to deal with because there's so much baggage and drama that comes along with them. So it makes me think I would rather just date men now because it's not.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised there's no WGTOW coming out of that. There's a MGTOW, but not a WGTOW to do with lesbians who are just thinking, fuck the drama.
Yes, kind of like I'm just tired of all the drama that comes.
I'm sick of getting my ass beat by this woman who's supposed to love me,
Yes, kind of like I just you. It's like you eventually get sick and tired of being with women. And it's like I would rather be alone than with you.
Yeah, I mean I know a few people who've been in lesbian relationships, and they seem to be okay. They don't look miserable. They tend to be one of the happiest people, but that's not the norm, is it? Apparently, so
yeah,
they're lucky. They're lucky. I think they're bi anyway. The girls that I knew. So,
we should probably move on to the next question. Have you ever been a feminist?
No, never. I never really got it.
Okay.
I did used to be a non-feminist before I was an anti-feminist, but yeah, I became I was reluctant to be one because I didn't want to fight him, but my hand was forced because of Gamergate.
Why are you an anti-feminist?
Because originally, when I was young, I am still young, but when I was younger, I was 16, 17. I just began to learn about it. I knew about it through history, suffragettes. And I didn't learn till in uni that there was another part of the women's movement who actually got things done called the suffragists at the same time of the suffragettes. They were the ones who weren't violent, who didn't throw themselves in front of horses, although they didn't do it. She didn't mean to do it. There's a story about that. She didn't mean to get herself killed, but yeah, they didn't bomb letterboxes. They just, letter campaigned, went out and protested fairly and peacefully, and they got shit done, And people have forgotten them, or lumped them in with the suffragettes. But if you were to bring one now and see what and show her what young kids are being taught, she would be horrified. She's like, I'm not a suffragette, I'm a suffragist. Suffragist. The suffragettes were the ones with a chip on their shoulder. So, yeah. And I knew all about that shit. And things never really, from what I can recall, nothing really sat well with me. Something wasn't right. I thought something, what they're saying to me is not what I've read in the history books necessarily. And what they're acting like doesn't necessarily show me that they are what they say they are. And then, fast forward 3 years, so I'm 19 years old, I think. I'm 20. I don't know. Gamergate hits. And originally it was Five Guys Burgers and Fries. I followed it from the beginning, but I wasn't necessarily a part of it until 1 or 2 months in, and then but sympathetic. And I kept noticing we keep fighting feminists and left wing types, and I'm a left wing type, but not a feminist. And I was like, why are we fighting you? Why are you here? What are you doing, feminists? What are you doing here? And I was like, I'm scratching my head, and then I began to see what they were spouting about gamers and men and women as well. And I just thought, no, this is wrong. You're wrong. You are objectively wrong. You're not even subjectively wrong. It's objectively wrong. It doesn't add up to science. It doesn't add up to reality. My life experience as a man and the men that I've met and talked to and the people I know in my family, they're not like what you say they are or what I am like. So you can see a video on my channel, which is probably, it's not lost, but it's hard to find because I have so many, where I basically came to the conclusion that, yeah, I am an anti-feminist. And I did so because I had no choice, rather than a conscious choice. You know? Yeah. Sorry, a bit long-winded, but that's the story. Yeah. And I've become more and more anti-feminist as I've gone on a year later. But the plus side is I've become more egalitarian as a result. So I think that can only be a good thing.
So, why did you start a YouTube channel? And if you have a different answer, what's inspired you to make anti-feminist video?
Originally, I just wanted to make short films, which is still on the cards, I guess. That's why my channel is quite old. It's about 5 years old because that was my 18th birthday, if I recall, and I was going to start making short films. That never happened, but the ideas are all still there, so that's good. And what inspired me to make these videos as well, I was originally going to do them plus atheist stuff because I'm actually quite late to the YouTube game. I used to watch YouTube for music and films and stuff only. It was purely what I considered entertainment at the time, but I didn't realise that what I do now and what everyone else that I know does is entertainment as well, to a degree. So I didn't used to watch that shit unless something went viral and I agreed with it. So what inspired me was one, Gamergate, seeing it all happen. Although I didn't start making videos until a year into Gamergate. And I did a podcast before this, and that taught me some key things. So that when I came into making videos, I had a little bit of an idea what I was doing. I just used to watch Sargon and Amazing Atheist. I still watch them. V occasionally, Mundane Matt, Internet Aristocrat before he became Mr. Metica, before he disappeared for good. Yeah, so many other people. And eventually the podcast ended, and I thought, okay, I've got a YouTube channel. Let's do it. So the first video I ever did, and I remember it clearly, was about Draymond, the guy from Disturbed, who came into Gamergate to use us as his personal army and failed. Because what happened was the the guy who does the Daily Show, a South African kid, he did a Jew joke years ago. People found it on his Twitter and they just utterly ridiculed him. And Draymond was like, "Oh my god, Gamergate, gotta help me." And they were like, "No." And I just talked about that. And then I did a few Joss Whedon videos as well. So anyway, that's it. That's why I do anti-feminist videos. But I also started to look into it more, and when I watched more videos and read more stuff, you realise quickly how much of a hate movement they are, and kind of always have been. End feminism. Or was it? Yeah, end feminism. Cassie convinced me that apart from, the suffragists and those who managed to get, equal pay and abortion rights, the rest of them are just supremacists, and they have been for 100 years. So yeah, that's my story. You still there, Rin?
Yes, I'm still here.
Yeah, that's me. That's the story. Bit long-winded, but that's me.
Are you an MRA?
Uh, I'm I'm an egalitarian, but I do advocate for men's rights. Yes, but I don't. You can argue my videos are activism, but no, I'm not like Bane 666. I'm not like Spino. I'm not like Men's Rights Edmonton or anything like that. But as an egalitarian, I have to advocate for men's rights. Otherwise, I'm not very good egalitarian, am I? So yeah, you wouldn't see me like as part of like, any men's rights group. Although I'm on a lot of Facebook ones, but that's because I get invited in, and it's something I'm interested in. But I'm not actually affiliated with anything. It's just an individual thing that I choose to do. I choose to stand up for because if no one else is going to do it, I might as well. And plus, there's nothing in the West that I can think of where I need to necessarily I need to help women with. I mean, in my country, we've got abortion, we've got everything you could possibly need. I can't think of anything because feminists will say wage gap, but it's like no, you are paid the same. It's illegal to not be paid the same. You earn less because well you don't work as much or you don't have the same jobs as us. It's your fault. It's your fault technically. I can't think of anything. Maybe there's some stigmas that I've forgotten about, but it's more men that need the help at the moment. I say, but if there's a legitimate women's rights issue, I'll probably make a video on it. I just need to be made aware of it.
Yeah. Have you have you ever been MGTOW?
No, never. Although I don't want to get married. I don't want to have kids, but that's not a political thing. It sort of became a political thing, but like originally it was a personal preference. I don't want kids. I don't like kids. I, I, I just don't. That's the thing. That's just my thing. I don't want to. I look at the world and think, how can I bring a kid into this? I look at myself and think, how am I supposed to raise a kid? And marriage, you don't need to get married to show you love someone or to stay with them for the rest of your life. Ridiculous. Maybe back in the day there was a use for marriage, but not anymore, and it's just a contract to enslave guys, isn't it? Despite what Julie Bindel says. But I was never a MGTOW, and I don't think I could ever be a MGTOW because, well, I do like women, and I would like to be with women. I mean, I know not all MGTOWs say no to relationships. In fact, the vast majority are probably in some kind of relationship with a woman, just they don't want to get married. It's only the really extreme ones who don't want to be with women that I've noticed. Originally, it was just don't get married. It never said anything about, you know, not being with them or interacting with them. Although I'm sure they interact with women. It's impossible not to.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think England is highly influenced by feminism?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, some of the greatest feminists were British. The ones that you most hear in Britain, British ones at least, um, all come from Manchester. They're collectively known as the Pankhurst because that was their surname, and they come. Well, I don't live there anymore, but they used to come literally down the road from me, and at least where they were born. And yeah, you learn about them in school, and to a certain extent, I'm kind of proud that they come from my city to an extent because they did fight for something that was right. But a more important thing happened in my city that probably without that they would not be fighting for the women's vote, and that was the Peterloo massacre. It was a satirical name, a satirical take on Waterloo. And what happened in Peterloo was this had nothing to do with women's suffrage, by the way. This had to do with working class men. Basically, working class men wanted to vote because they toil and work hard and pay their taxes, yet they can't vote. It didn't have to be working class people necessarily; just people who didn't own property couldn't vote. So there was a protest in what is now called St. Peter's Square, but at the time it was called St. Peter's Fields, and this was 200 years ago now. It's getting on a bit. I think it's 3 years. In 3 years, it's the 200th anniversary. And basically, there was a massive protest. They'd be speaking to massive crowds, and there was a militia formed to stop any riots. And they were all on horseback with massive sabres, and they got drunk beforehand. This isn't an excuse, by the way. They had no right to do this. And they noticed some, I don't know if they thought there was tension or something happened, but one thing led to another, and they charged the crowd and cut down hundreds of people, and they killed about 20 of them. And without that, there would be no suffragettes movement. There would be no push to get everyone to vote for universal emancipation. Without that, it wouldn't have had the momentum that it had. Although it still took men 100 years, 99 years, to get the vote. All men. In World War One, there were soldiers in the trenches who couldn't vote. That's what people forget. And that's what I like to remind people of. So, yeah. There's a massive feminist influence. There's also, just look at the universities. The chief university that I think is totally immersed is Goldsmiths. That's where Bahar Mustafa went to uni. This is where a lot of the stories come from. University of Manchester, all the other universities. Mine, when I went there, didn't have much of an influence, though. As I come back to visit, there's more of a social justice slant than there used to be. You just look at our rape law. Spinosaurus Kin made a petition to change the definition to be gender neutral, and the government, despite being right wing, and very right wing, very fiscally conservative to the point that they would allow people to be homeless and starving. But that's just my bias there. They literally said that, oh no, men are included, even though when we clearly said forced development isn't there, they said it was, even though it wasn't. And they also have a port. They've banned certain sex acts in porn. Some of them are just frankly stupid, like they've banned squirting and slapping stuff, like just not even rough sex slapping, although that is banned too. But like slapping someone's ass, I think is banned. I'm not sure, but yes, ridiculous. And they've got filters on the internet now when there never used to be. Oh yeah, very much so. We've had it for a long time. It's hard to necessarily list all the influences, but it's there, and it goes across political boundaries because I don't know what it's like in America, but I think at the time when it first started out, it was kind of like what the MRAs are today. It was cross-political because, all women of political persuasions who wanted to vote and be into political matters wanted to vote. So it makes sense to join together and, fight for what they thought was right. Although now it's more left-wing.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Anyway, what feminist aspects do you see in your country that you would like to see change?
The rape laws, the marriage laws, the alimony laws, child custody laws, all that needs to be changed. Male suicide needs to be addressed, and male cancers need to be put on an equal footing and funding as with female cancers, although men and women can get the same cancers apart from ovarian cancer or testicular cancer, because women can't get that and men can't get the other one. But breast cancer, although that men probably benefit by proxy, that's probably the only thing. I don't know, but say like prostate cancer, men are underfunded there, while breast cancer gets runs and loads of funding because it's women, you know. But in order to get all that, society needs to change itself a little bit because there is still a bias towards women even now. I mean, it was understandable years and years ago where they needed to be protected because evolutionary psychology, men were more expendable because one man can populate an entire population almost. But we don't live in those days now. I think it's time that we do practice what we preach and become more of a egalitarian society. So what is that background noise, by the way?
You mean me typing? I was typing in
Oh
chat.
no, there's this like white noise and shit coming from you.
Oh, I'm sorry about
It's
that.
not your fault. I'm just wondering if you knew where it was coming from.
Oh, yes. It was a commercial that was.
Ah, well, it's all right. So, you got anything to add or a question?
Um. What do you think of the alt right?
Don't like him. A lot of them are batshit crazy, and some of them, actually, yeah, all of them are like SAWs. I'm not saying they're the same. It's like black nationalists and the KKK. It's two sides of the same coin, isn't it? So that's what I view them all as. So ContraPoint. Actually, I was on Skype and me and equal rights advocate and somebody else talked about this. ContraPoints, that SJW, and Black Pigeon Speaks all make the same type of videos, but their subjects are different because of their politics. But if Black Pigeon Speaks was an SJW, they'd be indistinguishable. But because what they talk about is different, and they're on the opposite sides, they're two sides of the same coin, and that's what I think it is. Though I don't know if Black Pigeon Speaks is alt right. I think it's a tradcon, but I don't know. But yeah, when you've got people like Davis Orini and some other idiots who I won't name because I forgot their names because I'm tired. You know, you've got to ask yourself: is this the movement for me? And they're growing as well, and it ranges from just what's the least crazy alt righter? Race realists, is that really not as crazy as the ones who are 1488 Gaster Kikes? But Ivalion, I don't know if she's just a plain old Nazi or alt right, but she's the extreme, isn't she? Would you say?
I mean, she celebrates Hitler's birthday. She believes the Holocaust never happened, but it would have been a good thing if it did happen.
And that's probably why she got a YouTube channel terminated, because someone interpreted that as she wants to kill the Jews.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a good idea to say that it would be a good thing if the Holocaust would happen on YouTube. Not joking. Like, I don't care if it was a joke. She
Yeah.
probably stayed around, but because she seems to be serious, that is why her YouTube account got terminated.
I would extend half-hearted sympathies. Like, I'm so sorry that your platform's been destroyed. I'm for free speech. Yeah, a part of me is just like, deserves it, but I can't be like that. I can't. I have to fight for everyone's free speech, even if it's someone I absolutely disagree with and have no sympathy. In fact, I have Schadenfreude for. That's funny, a German word there. But she'd rather see me sterilized than live a normal life. Although it wouldn't really harm me, but there's something about forcing me to lose something about myself is a bit unnerving.
Oh, are you Jewish?
No. I'm an atheist. I just don't want to be sterilized.
Yeah.
I mean, I in Britain we don't tend to be circumcised. I think it's like most men aren't, but I don't know the percentage.
Do you wish that more people were political?
I wish less people were, to be honest, to some degree. Not like completely apolitical, although I tend to get along with them. But stop taking it so goddamn personally unless the person literally thinks that your existence shouldn't exist. You know, like Evelion obviously is against mixed race people. I'm mixed race, so I can't really be friends with someone like her. Likewise, I can't be friends with a black nationalist who is literally like her because they also, well, supremacist nationalists. I know there's a little bit of a difference, but just a racist in general. You know, uh, black or white Indian racists. I can't be friends with them because the idea of a guy who's mixed race is horrible to them, isn't it? So I can't be friends with them, but I could be friends with someone who isn't racist, even if they're conservative but not racist, they're liberal but not racist. I won't. I will be friends with them as long as we're compatible with personality wise.
I had no idea.
But people don't fucking think that way. They think liberals got to be with liberals, got to be with conservatives, got to be with this, that, and the other. It's tribal, and it's like this is what happens when you make the personal political. People don't get along. What are we gonna say?
Oh, I had no idea that you were mixed race.
Oh, I am. Yeah, you should see what my dad looks like. He's mixed race too.
Oh, so you. Oh, what's all are you?
I'm part Trinidadian, and the Trinidadian is Indian and black because they have a Indian population and a black population.
Oh,
My mum's white and my dad's mixed race. Yeah, I'm a quarter.
so you're Indian, black, and white.
By Indian, I mean subcontinent, not Native American, because there's no Amerindians in the Caribbean left, as far as I know. There might be a few, but a lot of them died or had kids.
Oh, you mean like
With
Indian from India, like the country?
yeah, like spin the light bulb dancing Bollywood type people. Yeah,
Uh,
I look more Indian than I do black though.
oh, is any of
It,
your culture saved, or you don't?
no, we don't have any of it on me and my dad, because of family history. It's complicated, but my other cousin, he's also part Indian on my mum's side. He's her cousin through her auntie, obviously, and his dad was born in Africa. African Indians from Kenya. I don't know if they're necessarily in tune with the culture. I don't know. His dad's very British, very Yorkshire. I don't know if you know where Yorkshire is, but you know Sean Bean, the actor.
I live in America. I don't know about Sean Bean.
He's from Game of Thrones. You know Ned Stark.
Oh,
He
I
was
don't
in
watch.
he was in James Bond, GoldenEye. He was the bad guy.
I don't watch James Bond or Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to think of famous people from Yorkshire, but I don't know if you know anyone. But basically, it's a county in Britain. It's a very famous county, and that's where they come from. And Rotherham, with the rape stuff.
Arthur Ram, never heard of him.
Rotherham. No, Rotherham is a town in Yorkshire where there was a massive scandal.
Rotham, England.
Yes, that's where they're from. That's where half my family is from.
That's where all those rapes happened, right? Where like
Yeah.
the British.
Yeah, and they're from there. They're from there. In fact, my history teacher was from there. Although they're not my cousin's dad's, community, the Indian one, so had nothing to do with that. That was the Pakistani community. But in fact, they're not even. Yeah, But yeah, I don't know if they're in tune with their culture or not. But I do know his parents were still there, obviously. But I don't know about my own. I call him my uncle, his dad. So I don't know about my uncle, but yeah, they're they're all very British, very Yorkshire, very northern. We're from the north, which is different to your north. But then I've got a cousin who's part Grenadian again on my mum's side, but he's my proper first cousin. And then I've got my first non-mixed race cousin that I can think of that isn't like twice or thrice removed, and she's only my half cousin as well. So that's interesting. So I've got quite a mixed family. And then there's people I'm related to by marriage, which is family shit that I can't really get into because it's too complicated on my dad's side. So yeah, modern. You can't get more modern than my family.
Patriarchy Bear asks, what do you think about James Bond becoming Jane Bond?
Oh, what? I'm going to read this myself. Hang on. Where did I put the... Here we are. Oh, now I get it. Stupid. It'll never happen, though, because, one, where are straight women going to get their Bond to fawn at? And secondly, it goes against the source material, doesn't it? It'll never happen. And it shouldn't happen because it's the source material and it's James Bond. The franchise is James Bond. You can't change that, you know? That's not sexist. That's just staying true to something. And plus, I think people would not watch it. It'd end up being Ghostbusted, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Is there any more questions from chats? And while that's happening, I do have one more question to ask you. Is there anything that you wish your audience knew about you?
I've got a Patreon. No. I do have one, but no, that's not the thing. That I'm going to improve the quality of the channel, but they know that. I always tell them that. So I don't really have anything. Not really. Oh, I'm organising a stream for women in the anti-feminism, anti-SJW circles, and I've already got about 4 or 5 people. I just need to organise a date and a time. Yeah, I guess that's it. I can't think of anything. And that's not really about me. That's more what I'm doing. But yeah, that's all I can think of.
Yeah.
Let's see if there's more chat stuff, though. Oh, God damn it, Castrejo. You can at least give me a question. Support is not a question.
Yeah, more and more women are becoming anti-feminist. I think it went down from 25% down to 18%.
It's 8% here as well.
Does anybody have any more questions for CharmingMan? Well, it doesn't seem like it, but I do think you had a good points earlier that all ideologies are pretty much the same. You know, it's kind of like MGTOW with feminism and with the white nationalists and Black nationalists.
Well, they're not the same. It's more the methodologies is the same. What they speak is different. What they think is different. But how they go around expressing that is exactly the same.
Yeah, it's simply that's what I meant. It's like, of course, they think differently. Of course, they're like opposites in nature, but
yeah, okay.
practice. But it's kind of like in practice, it's kind of like what I told Feminist Flow. It's kind of like in the 1980s, it is devil worshiper. Now it's misogynist.
Yeah.
In the 1980s, it is possessed by Satan, and today it's internalized white supremacy. It's pretty much the same thing in practice.
It's a religion. And someone's got a question for me, Anonymous. Do you want to do the honours to ask me? There's quite a few questions now.
Oh, yeah, there are some questions now. How long will feminism last, in your opinion?
It's always going to be there. It's never going to completely die, as its influence is going to end this century, obviously. Which decade? I don't know. But I think by the end of all this, because, you know, at the moment we're living at a time where it's getting a massive outlash. No, oh, no, not outlash, backlash, and eventually that's gonna either lose steam or they will lose steam trying to defend themselves and just wither away and die, or at least their influence will wither away and die. But feminists will still be around. Nazis are still around. These things don't die off, it seems, and they'll no longer be in control. And some people think I'm cynical for thinking this, but I think the alt-right will take their place. Personally, that's just how it goes. But at the same time, I personally think that the men's rights movement will achieve their goals, and they will disband because there'll be no need for them. Because I don't think that these people want to become like feminism, which was started off as a women's rights movement and became feminism because some people like the power trip that they got. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen to the men's rights movement. I'm confident that won't happen to them. But the power shift will go to the right because a lot of people are going to the right because they don't like what's happening on the left. So as soon as the left sorts its shit out, there'll be no supporters because they're always very little because they've all gone to the right. And as we've seen, all the moderates allow the crazies, the ultras, to get into power and dictate everything, and then they'll make excuses for these people, and we'll be back to square one. I can see that happening. So there'll be another culture war. And then then someone has to get up and say, okay, humanity, enough. Okay, enough. Let's keep it on the straight and narrow. Keep it middle, okay? No extremists are going to be ruling either camp, okay? Let's be civil about this. Let's actually have a common kind of consensus and move humanity in a forward direction, Because not many people seem to know this. I only learned about this in university, but after World War II, the Conservative Party, in fact, all parties, to an extent, not all of them, but most of them, all the major ones in Britain, they formed a consensus, which is Britain was going to be run this way. Obviously, judging by party lines, some are more right wing, others are more left wing. It could, vary in any direction in terms of how far they want to take the direction that they're going in. But Britain must have nationalised industry, nationalised healthcare. And what you do with that is up to you as a conservative or a liberal. And that worked for a good 30 odd years, I guess, 20 years. And then it collapsed because of OPEC and the economy was collapsing. And then next thing you know, Thatcher comes in, and that's it. That's the end of consensus. Well, at least that consensus. We're kind of in a new one at the moment, but it seems to be more of a consensus that is not really agreed upon. It's kind of it's more Labour had to adapt to it rather than all the parties sitting down and deciding. And I hope that happens instead of what I predict is going to happen with the alt-right, that the left and the right moderates come together, they stop fighting for once, because despite us being united against SJWs, we're still fighting each other. I hope we can come together and figure out where we want to take humanity. Consensus politics on a larger scale. Like, I don't know. I'm going on with myself. Any more questions, people? Still there, Rin?
Yes, I'm there. My mic was muted.
Yeah.
There have been more questions for you on chats, but I do agree that we should just be united against feminism instead of doing all this infighting. And the real problem is the extremists. It's always the extremists that are the problem. The problem are not the people who are moderates in a position. Like, there's no problem with Christian moderates or moderates feminists, like, Christina Hoff Summers. She's cool. There are cool feminists out there. There
I
are many great Christians out
The
there.
only time they are a problem is when they're in denial and they won't accept that there's a problem. They'll just defend everything. It's hard to, like Reza Aslan is supposed to be a moderate Muslim, yet he'll defend the radicals.
Yeah, and the moderates are a problem when they defend the radicals, but I have seen Christians speak out against Westboro Baptist Church, so that's a good thing.
Mm. Yeah. Oh God. There's a good question from Patriarchy Bear, if you would like to read that one out.
Yeah, yes, I'm planning on asking it. Um, Given history, do you think this migrants crisis is much like what has happened in the past with the spreading of Islam?
It's not really akin to the spreading of Islam. The spreading of Islam was a conquest that was halted in France, of all places, by Charlemagne. He became famous through that, and then he liberated a little tiny bit of Spain, and then that took them about 1,000 years, 900 years to reconquer Spain. But no, this is more like the Western Roman Empire, how they collapsed. We're not going to collapse though. I don't think we're not in the position where we can collapse. The EU probably will lose a few countries, but by and large, it's not an empire that can collapse. Western civilization won't collapse. If anything, we're dealing with like that type of immigration that the Romans had, where loads of barbarians were forced by wars and other people. Well, back then it was literally a migration would happen. It would kick out the people who were living in this area. Then people would move south or west or wherever they had to go to get away from this marauding, conquering tribe that had migrated into their area, and they ended up on the Roman side. And the Romans could either fight them or let them in. If they fought them in the early days, they'd usually win. But after a particular point, it started to get more and more difficult as the tribes that were migrating became more and more technologically advanced. Because a lot of people think the barbarians were barbarians. How did they conquer the Romans? How they were their unequals. Well, actually, they were their technological equals by the time of the say 300s. These barbarians were largely Christian, and their militaries were highly developed. Their societies were highly developed. The only thing that separated them between them and the Romans was, the Romans had a little bit more of a technological edge, but only slightly, because they were losing it. They weren't progressing for various reasons, and the barbarians were catching up, and they'd formed what essentially was proto-medieval societies. And this is what we're seeing. We're seeing that kind of immigration. They're not going to conquer us or anything like that, because that's impossible. We don't live in 300 AD. We don't live in the time of the Romans. That's what's happening. ISIS has caused a mass migration. Boko Haram has caused a mass migration. Political problems and economic problems in Africa have caused people to leave. It's a similar thing that's happening to that happened thousands of years ago, and we just so happen to be better equipped in dealing with it, but we're not dealing with it properly. So it's not really about the spreading of Islam. It's not like the spreading of Islam. Spreading of Islam was a conquest, and we've already seen what happened after that. But that ended. I mean, they resumed it after 1453, but they failed after that. So what I'm saying is, it's not like Islam. It's more like the migrations that the Romans had to deal with. But the difference between us and the Romans is we can deal with it. We just have to do it right. Firstly, we have to make sure that the people who are claimed to be Syrian are Syrian. And we've got to make sure that the Syrians are protected. They're going there for protection. And every time I look at all the rape stuff and the sexual assault stuff, I've never once seen anybody referred to as Syrian, ever. That can't be a coincidence, can it? I mean, there's thousands of them, millions of them, or at least maybe no, not millions. It was a small country, wasn't it? But hundreds of thousands have left the country, yet they're not committing any of those crimes. Am I insane? Am I wrong? It always seems to be Sudanese. Uh, I've not heard a lot of Somalians, but I think that's in Sweden. The Somalians I know in Britain tend to be quite smart, so they wouldn't do that shit. But Sudanese, Somalian, Afghan, Iraqi as well, which is weird. You'd think them being refugees, some of them, because there's a war at the moment, that they would be a bit more respectful, but they're not. Algeria, all sorts of North African countries. I'm not any Tunisians, but there always seem to be specific nationalities that are doing it. Never Syrians or Kurds, And I think the problem with the rhetoric I'm getting from quite a few people is either on the SJW side, you've got just these people that all cultures are equal, blah 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 blah. They're doing nothing wrong, didn't do nothing. It's us that are the problem. But then on the opposite side, you've got refugees and migrants and shit, and it's like, stop calling these people who are committing the crimes refugees. Not all of them are refugees, and the ones that are refugees should be ashamed of themselves. As far as I know, Syrians haven't been linked to any of the serious shit that have made the news. I could be wrong. So we should not be calling them refugees, because not all of them are refugees, are they? They're migrants, economic migrants who shouldn't be there. But I'm going on with myself. So go on, Rin. More questions.
I'll see if there are more questions in chats.
Yeah, there's a few, yeah.
How important do you think better teaching of history in schools is today?
It's very important. Look at these bloody SJWs. Look at Black Pigeon Speaks and all the other, Davis O'Reilly and all the others who think they know all about history, yet they don't. They haven't got a clue. And the thing is, I've noticed that, I was watching a Lindy Beige video about the Boer War, and this guy, and I think I may have been taught that, loads of people have been taught this, that the Brits invented the concentration camp, but we didn't. They weren't concentration camps in the Boer War. They were, refugee camps, but they were also part of a massive network. Loads of areas were cordoned off to stop the Boers from doing guerrilla war, and we burned down farms that were linked with the Boers if they were hiding Boer soldiers. So that meant we had a lot of women and children who didn't have homes, so we housed them. And the problem was our logistics was terrible. So people were starving, they didn't get a lot of food, but it didn't help that the Boers were also blowing up railway lines. And what a lot of people forget is, although quite a lot of Boer women and children starved and died of disease, 15,000 British soldiers also died in those camps. So if these were concentration camps designed to kill these people, how come British soldiers died? They're not concentration camps. And plus, the Brits weren't the first ones to do it. The Romans did it with, those barbarians who were coming over. And the Aztecs did it, although the Aztecs probably did it to sacrifice them. But, I don't know. I've heard the Aztecs did it. And a concentration camp is, what do you think a concentration camp is? A camp designed to concentrate people for horrible things. Yes, Crookie One, Lindy Binge. Yeah, that's been taught in schools. Yeah, if you actually look it up, that it couldn't possibly be a concentration camp. It's a logistical nightmare, a horrible running of what it should be refugee camps. But they did sort it out eventually, because the British public got wind of it. You see, because people were reporting it, and there was an outcry because we'd like to think that back then people were horrible misogynists and racists. Yet the British public largely didn't like the fact that these people were dying, and their own men were dying as well. So that's what made them change it, and eventually they got the death rate down to 2%, which back then was amazing. Victorian Britain and, a lot of the world back then was very do-gooder, very, doing something for a cause, which is similar to now. A lot of the SJWs, I think the vast majority of them, they may be far gone, in my opinion, but they do it for good reasons, good intentions. They're do-gooders, but for the wrong reasons. They're do-gooders doing bad,
Oh yes, doing the wrong thing for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other question is,
Oh, wait, history in schools? Yeah, yeah. Better teaching of history is definitely important because people need an unbiased, objective view, and that is totally possible. All you do is put the facts out for them. That's all you do. We have facts, at least as much as we can give people, because, historical records can be destroyed. Because, like Orwell said, he who controls the past controls the future, and we can see them trying to change history right now. Like slavery was a white thing. No, it wasn't. It was a universal thing. But yeah, go on.
yeah, they are training people to think pathologically. That was in a few articles I read that they're actually trying to train kids to think pathologically, and they're basically training college kids to be activists. They're not trying to teach kids to think objectively. They're trying to make kids activists. But I'll go on to
Yeah.
the next question.
But the thing about that is, a lot of people think they're just getting brainwashed. All of them are getting brainwashed in the universities, but brainwashing takes a long time, and these kids are getting these ideas from outside uni. So when they get into university, they're ripe for brainwashing because they've already learned what feminism is or what social justice is. They've been on Tumblr, and well, they've learnt about this shit. Oh, Barry's in the chat, and and they're ripe for picking. The people like me who didn't believe in that shit weren't brainwashed. Although I certainly had to let go of some things that I thought were right that were wrong, though. But that's what people do. So, yeah. Go on.
Anonymous asked, do you think Islam will go through a reform to be compatible with Western society?
Well, here's something that I have to complain about. It's not about Islam. We'll get to that. But if Christianity never reformed, it didn't reform necessarily. More, it had to bend to society's will as we became more enlightened. The Reformation that people talk about, as far as I know, and I could be wrong, I don't know what it's like in the continent, but the Reformation was an English thing and a Scottish thing. It was basically Henry VIII wanted to divorce, and the Pope didn't want him to divorce, so he thought, fuck you, I'm going to divorce. So he did, and he decided that he would now be the leader of the Church of England, and that is the Reformation, and that also happened to coincide with stuff that was happening on the continent with Martin Luther, not to be confused with Martin Luther King Jr. And what he originally just posted a load of grievances that he wanted changed, which you could say was a reformation, but he wanted a more stricter, more by the book Christianity, because the Catholics lost their way, where the monks and the priests and the churches were meant to be very plain and drab. They weren't. They were very colourful and had loads of riches, and that's another reason why King Henry wanted, the Reformation, because he wanted to take all the gold to fund his wars in France. But that's Henry VIII for you. But Christianity itself didn't actually reform. It splintered and fractured as it fought each other for hundreds of years, and then eventually, as the rest of society just moved on and secularized, they realized quite smartly that they had to adapt, and Christianity has shown itself in most respects to have adapted to the ever-changing, secularizing society that we currently live in. So what they think behind closed doors might not have changed. Like, I've heard some horror stories from Jehovah's Witnesses, and loads of other sects of Christianity, but by and large, the vast majority of them have either basically become agnostics, so they're not really Christian, and don't believe in that shit. Like, again, they cherry pick, don't they? And the problem, to answer the Islam question, well, Muslims have been living in Europe for nearly 1,000 years now. Bosnian Muslims have been around for hundreds of years. I don't know if there's any, well, I don't know if there is any integration problems there, but a lot of them have been proven to integrate. It just depends how well educated they are and how, where they live in that country and what exposure they have to the population that they've come to join. So, for example, my area that I come from in Manchester, but don't live there anymore, sadly, the Muslim population is very well integrated because they're in contact with so many different people that they become enlightened. It's kind of impossible to be racist down there. I'm not saying it's not impossible, but it's highly unlikely that you will be. But even then, there was still 2 lads went over to join ISIS and died. But then again, it was 2 lads, and they made the news, and everyone was shocked. Everyone, and nobody knew that was going to happen. I don't think their families knew until ISIS phoned them or emailed them. And like, one of them was going to be a lawyer. We lost a lawyer because of radicalization. Because, I like to treat these people as humans and think that they can be deconverted or at least learn things. Like, if Majid Nawaz can do it, they can. I think, honestly, it depends on the conditions. Islam itself, well, you can't reform the holy books, but the Bible itself was never reformed. Come on. The only thing you can do is to make sure that more Muslims cherry pick the good things and leave the bad shit away, and become basically Muslims in name only, which they're actually a growing population. A lot of the younger Muslims in universities, they tend to be quite agnostic. They drink, they eat pork, they take drugs, that shit. So they're growing, but they're growing very slowly because it's a very traditionalist, very uptight, conservative religion, and to an extent, maybe the outside cultures it's latched itself onto are to a degree, But at the same time, I'm not going to say it was Islamic culture because it wasn't. It was Arab culture. If Arab culture can create algebra and in the Middle Ages they had open atheists back then writing about religion, while the West didn't. At least they weren't open about it. But if they can do that, they can do it again, and they did that in spite of Islam. In spite of that was because their culture was advanced at the time. If they could just, if anything, their cultures, not their religion, need to be reformed clearly, because they're still stuck in a time that everyone else has largely moved on from. You'll never reform the religions. You just have to make sure that more people are smart enough to reject the negative thing. Honestly, that's my opinion. So yeah, individual Muslims can be reformed because their culture rather than their religion is backward. But you can change the culture. The religion, not so much. I don't know if that makes any sense, people, but that's my opinion. All religions are fucked, but the cultures are not fucked. Because what makes up cultures? People, and the people can change it. We just have to make sure that they're given the right conditions to do so, but they can't at the moment because of war. Some of it's on us, some of it's on them. There's no one person, no one culture, one people is to blame for the wars, because it's always been a highly volatile area, the Middle East anyway. But the people who are living here, we also need to help them. We do need to actually get them integrated and to stop being so insular. Part of it definitely is our fault, because in the UK, we used to just put people in the same areas, and because people live there like them, rather than just putting everyone together. For some communities it worked. For the Caribbeans and the Africans, it worked. For the Indians, it worked. Or at least the non-Muslim. Well, for most non-Muslim ones, it worked. But there are large areas now where they're all insular and they're doing shit like Rotherham, But yeah, it's the people can be reformed. Some of them, most of them, I'd say, because a lot of them are just following the herd. But as for the religions, no, Islam can't be reformed. Majid Nawaz needs to know that you can reform the people and show them what to pick. Like, if we had more imams like Mufti Menk, I mean, he's a homophobe, but the priests who are homophobes, the Archbishop of Canterbury is a homophobe, but, more people like that, and less like fucking Jihad, that guy, the guy from ISIS, less people like him, more like Mufti Menk, Islam will be fine. They will integrate, because he preaches tolerance and integration in Zimbabwe, while well, shit's like Chowdhury over here that don't. So it's all about the imams. If you get more moderate imams, hell, just imams who have brains, who know that integration is key, why not? But I'm going on with myself. Go on. Any more questions, people?
How do you feel about England leaving the EU?
Apprehensive, but I'm not pro Brexit or pro stay. So the thing is, I have what's called an apprehensive sense of freedom because we've left. I kind of feel free. While if we'd stayed, I'd have more of a safe feeling of apprehension because it's like it's an unknown Brexit, and plus there's a very real chance, although I don't think it'll happen, just because it's too risky, that my country could break up. England will be fine, but the rest of them won't be, because Northern Ireland, United Sinn Féin, like Northern Ireland, we're gonna have a United Ireland is coming, but the South is in no economic shape to deal with Northern Ireland. That is a huge strain and burden on them. They're not West Germany. That's what people forget. Plus, most Northern Irish people want to be British, so
Megan asked, if it would save the world, no, if it saved all the world problems, would you bang Jigglypuff?
No, fuck the world, let it burn.
Have you ever been a Christian before, or were you raised atheist?
I wasn't raised atheist, but I wasn't raised Christian either. Just secular household, really. None of my parents are religious. I only know of one religious person in my family. My uncle was religious, but I don't know if he is now. He hasn't really talked. He never talks about it, so I don't really ask him. But my gran is, but only a little bit. She's not that religious. She just likes the community aspect of it. I think she's spiritual, but but by and large, not many of us are. I was never a Christian. I went to church like 3 times when I was a kid. Didn't like it. Didn't know what people were feeling. Didn't feel God. Didn't feel anything. And I didn't know when I only became an atheist until I knew what it was. And when I knew what an atheist was, I was like, that's me.
Yeah, I never really liked being in the church either when I was young. But I also agree with you with your other points that the problem with the Muslim migrants, the reason why they're not integrating is because they're all in one spot. So it's like there's a culture within another culture, and their culture is antithetical to British culture.
The way I see it is, you can be in tune with the culture you come from, obviously, but you've also got to be in tune with the other one. Like, cultures meld. That's why we're around. But if you just keep it separate, it's fucking. What's the point? You know? But you know, what do I know? I'm not in tune with Trinidadian culture. I'm just related to them, so I can't really say. But I think those people who are proud to be British and be of something descent, they tend to be very well integrated, don't they? So I don't know.
The Cricket One asks, how do you feel when channels you enjoy unrelated to politics express heavily regressive views?
I feel kind of really horrible about it because they're wrong, and some of them know they're wrong, yet they still parrot that bullshit. And it's like, you should know better. Now, some of them probably will renounce it, but people like Zone Star, people like, oh, there's so many of the list of people who got cooked, isn't it? But, you know, some of them are just far gone, and they can't be saved. Like, Steve Shives can't be saved. And I think about Steve Shives, I don't think he was radicalized by his wife. He was always like that. Always. I think it's mostly him, but she just gives him confirmation bias. And, you know, he might be whipped. I can accept that, but I don't think she's, controlling him. I think she's, I still don't think she was being entirely serious about the whole your music collection is sexist. I think she's just being really rude and obnoxious to him for the hell of it. I don't think she literally believed it. Maybe he did, but I don't know. I think she was taking the piss and he took it a bit too autistically. That's my view.
The Cricket One asks, have you ever lived in the country? And if you have, did you call yourself Farming Man?
No, I never lived in the country. I'm a city guy till I die. You know what? Farmers are interesting in Britain because they own guns. People think you can't own guns in the UK. You can. You need a license. I need to be part of a gun club or a shooting range, which is the same thing, but there's differences. Or a society. And with farmers, it's different. I think they have to have guns because you need to shoot a predator, don't you? You know? And basically, I agree with them that some foxes need to die, some badgers need to die because badgers bring about diseases, they'll kill small animals like rabbits, and foxes will do the same, but they'll also kill a sheep. So, yeah, there needs to be some deaths in order to keep the crops and the livestock safe, I agree with them on that. And, the whole countryside alliance thing, I think if they just, instead of all the protesting and Greenpeace type bullshit, they could actually come to some kind of middle ground. But they won't because environmentalist, animal rights / welfare politics is just such shit show. It's such a clusterfuck.
Is there any more questions from chats? The Crooked One asks opinion on ADHD drugs like Ritalin, Adderall.
I don't know about those drugs. I've never taken them, so I don't have ADHD either, so I wouldn't know. You'll have to ask somebody who has ADHD.
It's just he said ADHD drugs like Adderall.
Yeah. I don't have it, so I wouldn't know. I think it's Ritalin and Adderall. So no, I don't know. Adderall can be taken as a recreational drug, but I've never had it. So
Spino, I don't get that one because you're not Spino, and I didn't see Spino.
Why is he talking about Spinosaurus kin?
No clue. He just says Spino out of nowhere.
Is Spino in the chat? I can't see him.
I didn't see him in chats either. He just said Spino out of nowhere, and I've been following the chats this whole entire time. I never seen Spino.
Make a video, Crooked Bod. He used to make videos, but he doesn't anymore. Oh, just that's all. Okay. Anyone? I think that's probably it. We've been going for an hour and 20 minutes. What do you think?
Oh yeah, we could end it here. Thank you for all your questions. Goodbye, everyone.
See ya.